He's going to be a bit pissed about the per diem that we offer, but
it will be up with some cost, bro.
Goodness me, let's see if we're up and running here. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Yes, we are. There we are.
Are we there? Sweet.
Boom.
You know what? It's the first time I've sat down in about hours. It's not, some shows were really already blazed like crazy. We've been sitting here all afternoon. I just sort of slid into place.
Oh, it's been a bit of a mission of a day, eh?
It's been lots of stuff going down. It's been lacking.
Yeah. Busy.
Eventually live studio audience and all that. But folks, welcome to the HotBox podcast. Tonight you're joined by myself, Baz, Nick, Dan and Jules. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good evening.
It's good to be sat down.
It is good to be sat down. I actually feel like my THC levels are too low. So I don't know if you folks at home remember Dragon Ball Z, but they used to make Spirit Bomb, and everyone was just used to send the power of their spirit to Goku so that he'd be strong. If you folks could send me a bit of THC vibes right now, I need it. Keep your fucking CBD. I need some THC because I'm a bit snap crackle pop.
We've been giving him, you've had about 3 litres of intravenous CBD today, and it just hasn't worked for him.
No.
Now I'm spearing raw dab on my arm like Marmite.
You can't move any, it's broken.
No, I can move my fingers, but the arms...
Okay, you can move some stuff.
I'm only on a couple of pistons at the moment, but it's okay because I can still roll a joint. And I think that's priority number 1. Yeah.
That's quite amazing.
Yeah,
as long
man.
as you can do that, you can manage your pain.
We're up and running. Sorry, it's taken me ages to figure that bit out. Right, there we are. And we're in and amongst the thing. And we have Kamikaze. Kamikaze. Why is the angle weird? Dun dun dun. What angle are you looking at it at? Maybe he's got 3 legs on the chair or something.
Yeah, dude.
Which angle's that? That angle.
No,
are you talking about that angle?
Better.
That's better. Hello, guys. Yes. Okay, he's there.
Cool, man. So let's get straight into this week's story. So we were going to have a bit of a blood testing themed episode today, but that fell through. Last minute things happened. Life happened. No hard feelings to the oaks who were going to come through. So let's get straight into it. Jules was in a bad fucking mood this week about who.
Who? Yeah, the Who got to me this week. The Who. Myrtle managed to get a submission in video to the World Health Organization because they are appraising weed for the first time in 40 years. The expert committee on narcotic dependence drugs are in session in Geneva, and we got a 7-minute video through the gates in this closed door situation. No cameras, no wireless, no phones, no records, no minutes, nothing. So we managed to get in because we got a URL, because we've got security clearance, and we watched it in the lounge. And essentially there's 14 different people from around the world giving their opinions on various aspects of weed, mostly CBD. Save the Children, CBD, epilepsy, CBD. But there was a couple of people that just had us... We can't believe that those guys actually got through the doors. So I'll go through them a bit as we get through the show and stuff. But essentially, one particular presentation claims in Chile that they've done over 160 studies on the efficacy of cannabis as medicine, and they can't find any. And they've got a 7-8 minute presentation to the World Health Organization behind closed doors. And it's just kind of weird to me. They're called the Epistemonicis Foundation, and it says here...
That sounds Catholic, man.
The use of cannabis... there you go, I think it's up on the screen. Yeah, the use of cannabis in people with medical conditions does not produce improvements and causes damage to health. So, they had 3 criteria, which you can see on the screen. Cannabis or its derivatives are not effective or associated with frequent adverse effects, as in MS and anorexia. But this goes against the grain of everything I've been learning online. So, it may produce a low benefit, but the frequent adverse effects exceed the benefits. So give it to somebody, but maybe they can't quantify the stone bit, you see. That's what I think. It's a THC
Or
angle.
maybe they're thinking everyone's saying we must, if a kid's got epilepsy, we must roll him bottlenecks and king sizes. Because they only got that context of we can smoke it. That is no longer the only delivery mechanism.
Well,
if I may, have you Oaks checked these fucking things, Paxes?
I see quite a few of those.
This would blow those old white motherfuckers' minds if they saw something like this, man.
Yeah, well, that's what Myrtle basically said in her video. You don't know your ass from your elbow, and you better, if you want to know anything, ask us, because we've kind of invented it all as a worldwide community. You didn't know 2 years ago that you needed a banger.
No,
that was invented in the last 5 years.
Even bangers are like 2 years old.
There you go.
Exactly.
But now they've invented this thing, so if you put a whole bunch of dab on that and you suck on it, you go like a bang. Anyway, so the very last point they make as part of their criteria is it is not clear whether cannabis or its derivatives are effective or not because the certainty of the evidence is very low. They are associated with frequent adverse effects, as in insomnia and Tourette's, and the management of nausea and vomiting induced by chemotherapy. So my understanding of that is they are probably giving whacking doses of unbalanced THC weed to people as anecdotal evidence around the world of here's your RSO, but it's got like a fucking 8% THC and 0 CBD. And people, we've seen it time and time again. I know so many people who took quantities of oil. Concentrated oil, you've seen the concentrated little oil things, yeah? And they freak out because they get very stoned very quick and very paranoid and fucking greenies and the blood rushes out of their body.
But it is the deep end sometimes, so I don't expect. Because there's also, I find with, let's talk about dabs, yeah? Because even in a medicinal context, maybe people, there seems to be this culture of when it's someone's first interaction with oil or dabs, to push them in the deep end. It's almost like a badge of pride that, it's your first dab.
Definitely.
Let's bust a grand. Because this doesn't know. These people, and then they fucking piss themselves.
I think they think that they do that because they know, well, maybe they don't know. They're not going to give one credit.
But they think
that it's not going to do any harm to him other than just make him really stoned.
But let's face it, really stoned is...
It's going to make him really stoned and scared, and it is horrible, don't you remember?
It is irresponsible, 100%.
When was the last time you went down badly on cookies or something?
Never.
No, you don't. Have you gone down on cookies before?
Oh, I said yes. I've gone green.
Yeah, no, we've all had our greenies. We've all had our greenies.
I find the greenies mainly come from drinking and then smoking.
That's also.
So how does that saying go? There is a saying like this.
Yeah,
grass
green before and something. Grass before.
Yeah, we can never. If anyone at
grass
home,
before beer, you're in the clear.
Yeah,
beer after grass. No.
See your ass.
Something.
Grass
I'd
after
say
beer.
don't fix us.
Yeah,
grass after beer. No, grass before beer, you're in the clear. Grass beer before.
We're gonna have to leave this up to the audience. Oak, save us.
Beer before grass, you see your
us.
ass. That's it. Grass before beer, you're in the clear.
Beer before grass.
Grass, you're in the clear.
So how long did that take us? 15 minutes? Time?
No, man, that was like 20 seconds. Which don't
you know,
got it.
We're all really, Myrtle and I are really new to United Nations, and there's people there right now at the World Health Organization feeding us information behind closed doors for 4 days. It is all what they call embargoed until midday tomorrow. So we'll have more next week or whatever. And there's posts going out simultaneously today about some of the things we can talk about. And, wow, there's some really highly paid individuals with masses of money with foundations doing hundreds and hundreds of studies to still find something wrong with this fucking plant.
But, like, if I can, this is a point I'm getting tired of making because I feel like I've said it 100 times now. It's like, when it comes to weed, because of its past, it's in this situation of guilty until proven innocent. Because in all those studies, I'd like to see just the one. I challenge anyone at home. Doctors for Life, if you're watching, ne?
They'll be watching.
Please send the link of any study that says the answer to cannabis is imprisonment. Because I have never seen that study.
Okay. Well,
I know they're saying we must learn more, but maybe that's the thing we must learn fucking first is what makes it so bad that you must cage me.
Big time.
And make me make Zippo lighters.
One of the other 6-minute numbers was a compassion charity in New Zealand, and they basically had a slide up that said, we think CBD is completely amazing, but what we do think is because of the dangers of THC, we should actually keep it in Schedule 1.
Yeah, dude.
So that guy's called the compassion fucking what?
You're ringing, dude. Get right up.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch is called the Compassion Portal New Zealand, and he thinks that he doesn't even know what Schedule 1 is and the repercussions for somebody who gets in the shit of Schedule 1. I can't believe I saw this on the screen that says Compassion, Schedule 1. Fuck them.
Yeah, dude. They still think it's heron.
Well, they're not doing it from human rights. They're doing it from this blind compassion faith thing. I don't know what it is. It's irritating.
Anyway, so let's move
what's
on.
What's on the menu?
Oh, what is on the menu? So what are we smoking?
Dairy Farmer says we've got some really good sound and good picture. So save the settings, tech team.
Default. So what we got? Come, Oaks, we've got so much on the table here.
Oh, no, you're talking to me.
Yeah. What's on the menu?
Well, what's on the menu is I want to gloat about this for a moment because this is a hell of a sexy piece. That's this is from Mobius in America. And a friend of a friend says, I know a friend who's got a Mobius for sale, and it's a steel. It's not in dollars, it's in rand. It's very beautifully etched there. It says Mobius.
It's got a pentagram diffuser. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it is quite hipster.
All hail Satan.
Groovy, so it's oh, cool. Well, let me hit that with that backlit like that, and let's see if we can pick it up and send it to the stars.
Let's make it hot in here.
What I have here in this has just been donated from the neighbours, shall we say. It's the euphemism from the people next door. You know, the neighbours. And this is actually what they call lemon fresh.
Lemon fresh.
Well, smell it. Smell that. It's like they're absolutely completely right. Oh, have I got to get over there? Fuck.
Yeah, ooh, that's got a nice, he's got that lemon token there.
Yeah, it is, dude. It's like walking into a fresh bathroom.
We were the total on the N3.
Urinal cakes, dude.
The guy with a mop. It reminds you of a guy with a mop.
Dude. And what we got in terms of grass?
Actually tastes like
grass,
a mop. Yeah. Fuck, that's nice.
What grass?
We got some cheese. Yes, we smoked all the cheese already.
Okay, with the cheese.
I've seen this world's emptiest.
Oh fuck! Well, that was a sample for tonight's show.
Well, there's some. Here's some more. Here's some Exodus cheese inside here.
And then I know for a fact that in there is the original Neville's Haze.
Oh,
that smells quite funky.
I think that came all the way from Canada.
So we should be good to go till about what, 2 a.m. or so? We'd be right.
Dude, we're gonna finish this all in 10 minutes.
Beef stock.
Beef stock.
Beef stock, dude.
What do you guys?
Woodstock. Beef stock.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah. So
What, like oxo?
There's a slight tinge of
Well, that's what I get.
Yeah, it's like barbecue.
But there's another one. I'm down these. No, that's like it's like that Acapulco from 2 years ago. It's like smells like cat piss and smokes like dog shit. One of those ones. TripAdvisor.
It's like there was a bit of Vegemite with your weed almost. It smells great, but smoke this shit.
Yeah, okay.
Smoke it.
I'd like to know what it tastes like because I haven't had a smoker green for a while. I've just been hitting dabs today because it's been busy. We slows
it sounds
down
like
too
it.
much.
Actually sounds like it should be the 8th day of the week. Dabs today.
Dabs today.
Dabs today.
We could have one every 3 days.
It should be
an 11-day month.
So let's move on to our next story of the
What
week.
was the first story?
The first story
was me.
you.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So,
all right, we're getting on to the news now. Nick, be patient. There is a point to all this. Okay. Yeah, no, he will come out with the news in the end. But
so, next story of the week is this. Oaks was sending this picture around all over on Facebook, and it was that Dischem are now selling CBD oils, very clearly branded as CBD oils, and very proudly stating THC free. Because maybe people have expectations there too.
THC's free.
Yeah, dude. But so the deal.
Fucking great.
So this isn't expensive. This is surprisingly cheap. We're gonna do maths now. Mathematics is gonna
okay.
Have you got your calculator?
You finished coughing now. Don't
Dude, you count the coughs.
half a calculator and a cough later.
So basically, it says CBD oil. It's 100 milligrams of oil.
Yeah.
In 10 mils. So it's 10 mils. So it's a little bottle of 10 mils of oil. And in that 10 mils of hemp oil, there's a
Have you got? How's your maths head?
100 milligrams of. How much is 100 milligrams? How much of a gram is that? 1,000th of a gram.
What? 100 milligrams.
100 milligrams.
100 milligrams is 0.1 of a gram. There's 1,000 milligrams in a gram.
So it's 0.1 of a gram of CBD for $300 basically.
So it's 30 rand a milligram.
Yeah. And so 90% of what it is 90% of it is hemp oil.
Yeah.
With like just a like a.
But you know what the nice
CBD.
thing about that little display that I thought was really cool? It's a cannabis leaf that's in the public view.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
look
there
at
it
it, and
is.
now
I
it's
can
not
see
like
it.
this banned picture that must only be on those boards outside Pick and Pay where it say, yeah, Dagga, it's terrible for the Dagga, what. It's in the chemist now. People see it as
Because
medicine.
is it a good or a bad
It's
thing?
changing
So now-
that. It's changing that. Like
The question is, are they allowed to say it's a medicine, or can they say it's like some sort of supplement? Do you know
remedy.
that? Is it because I don't think you can call it medicine.
And you can't dab it. Definitely not.
Can you? I don't know. What is it like? Is it powder or suppository
No, it looks
or?
like it's oil. It looks like
Oh, it's-
droplets.
Okay.
Yeah,
It'll
it's
be
oil,
like
okay,
a
I mean-
tincture thing. Okay.
But it does look like it's in like an isolation ward though.
Yeah, it does. It looks like they're selling plutonium on the black market.
And I bet you they found the cabinet open though. Cabinet with a lot
The
of
cabinet was open.
It was open when they found it. Oh my god! All the stoners are gonna come steal the flipping oil.
Oh, someone's going to steal the oil, eh? Yeah,
So
that's what
I
they
say
think,
$299.95. Yeah.
It's
THC
yeah, $300 for
free. So now the
for
mission.
1/10 of a gram.
The mission is to go and mess with that THC sticker. It's open to complete and utter activism. So he says THC free. All you need is with a like a star round. Little THC is free. Excuse, have you got the? Where's
That's
the
what marketing. But maybe the point is my weed must say CBD free. Because some oaks do just want to. When it comes to the
no,
weed,
completely. I don't want balanced weed. Sometimes I want an edgy one. You know.
Keep your fucking CBD, eh?
So good pictures, so good sound. Save the seconds. Hairy Farmer, thank you very much. The men in the corner. I love that. I don't see smoke. Fucking Warren.
Bring out Red Man. Bring out Red
Where's
Man.
Red? Where's
You
Yeah.
know, Red Man is the one that can make the big smoke. But we've also got JC Morris saying you need a bong like a pro.
Hey, can he join? Hey, JC Morris, if you're in the Joburg area, hit us up with the Gmail address. There's a Gmail, HotBox Podcast 420 at Gmail. Hit us up so we can do it all kind of, a little bit secret. Because it is a hot box and we are breaking the law. Remember, this man is an enemy of the state.
Oh, dude. Oh, you're going to check us in Douglasdale most wanted posters at the cop shop.
Well, they'll recognise me. There'll be a face recognition with me next to the Brigadier,
Have you
Well,
seen
pop
the
up
stoner?
but he was with the Brigadier.
So you had some... Where's that jumpsuit? You had something... If someone sent us something. Have you got it, Chad? That hemp thing.
Oh, no, but this is... Yeah, no,
Talk about it, dude. Yeah, man.
This is Frederick. And Frederick is the lead man in the Couch Ninjas. And the Couch Ninjas have been around a while. They're a Joburg folk band. I think they're a 4-piece, 3-piece, 4-piece.
They've been around for a
They've
while.
been around for a while, and we've been to a couple of their gigs and supported them. And they've had a tin, and they've supported us.
Yeah.
And he came to me out of the blue the other day and said he's making Hemporium. This feels absolutely amazing. It really does. It's like the real deal. It's a Hemporium hemp bolt, and it's proudly logoed with the Couch Ninjas on it. And it's a pair of hemp dungarees.
You got to show us,
And-
Jules. You got to stand here, man.
Climbing them.
Put it on. Put it on, Jules.
So Dan said earlier that he would garden in these in the summer. If he had a pair of these, he'd wear nothing else.
Yeah.
But I don't know about them quite yet. Maybe I'm just getting a bit too old about it, but I'd really like to see a photograph of you next week, of you
Next week?
tending some
Yeah,
fucking
sure.
Brussels sprouts or something.
I've just
in them.
about to start my winter
But,
crop. So
I thought, you know what, they've done loads for us. They're always punching us. They originally came to us about 4 years ago and said, we've got this really cool idea. We're going to sell stickers of this original logo. We're going to sell stickers and buy a combi, and we're all going to drive it around the country singing songs and making money for you guys. They've got hearts of gold, these guys. They're really cool. And maybe we get them on the show, yeah?
Yeah,
mental thing. Frederick, we might
dude.
get you on the show, but we're going to see what we can do with these. I'm not so sure. I particularly am going to wear them in Amsterdam in 10 days' time. Thank you very much for the offer. I'm not so sure I'm going to be walking around Amsterdam in these. I'm very paparazzi aware, Anyway, Myrtle said she will.
Okay.
So that's the story about the Couch Ninjas and Frederick, and big up to you guys. They
Thank you
work
for
hard.
sending us shit, Culture Ninjas.
Yeah, no,
Plus rates.
keep the shit coming because it's all interconnected.
Okay. Next, let's put Nick
Nick?
in the hot seat.
Hot seat.
So Nick's quite debonair. This oak's been around the globe 420 times our rate by now.
420, yeah, at 42,000 feet.
Yeah, dude. Which means that I think, in a way, this makes you a very unique connoisseur because you have experienced weed in so many places that I've never even fucking heard of, dude. So you've had from dank, yeah, and dabs, and I'm sure you've been to like Canada and things, down to like things that are beyond third world.
Morocco, those kind of places maybe.
What's it like? Cuba. What's Cuba like, dude? Because it's tobacco there. Is there weed?
Yeah, there is. I have had one joint under communism in Cuba.
A commie joint, dude.
Under communism.
Is there
Did
any
you have to
rules?
stay-
Is there any rules about it?
It was every bit as sort of exciting and conspiratorial as you might expect. We had to go out to the back room, all
Shrouded.
the doors were all closed, the fans were all on maximum. And this
No
one
way.
What
tiny,
they do?
tiny,
Wow.
very thin
Shit.
single skin joint came out, and it went round. Probably five of us, I could imagine.
Mostly all locals plus you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, you're always
I
okay.
was the guy.
Because you do know who would have ended up with the joint if the cops had walked in.
Yeah, no, I was.
Oh well done. I don't think I've had. I've blazed in Moscow. I suppose that's the same sort of structure, isn't it?
You know what we should do? We should put up a map,
Yes.
and we must colour it where everyone's
Where I blazed,
No,
maybe there's
you could.
because I can tell you what, there certainly won't be a Facebook app for it.
That upside down map of yours would be so cute, dude.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
And we do it out here with the
Spots
pictures.
what I
dude.
blazed at.
Yeah.
So you blazed on every continent.
Yeah, have you
More
blazed
or
on
less.
every continent?
No, I've done Central America, but not South America.
Okay.
So that is yet to...
Where are you now?
You don't know.
Africa.
Africa.
I'm working my way through Africa and the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Most recently.
Alright.
And is that Caribbean ganja any good, dude?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it varies, but you get some really quite nice, strong, as you say, dank is the word. You know, it's not sort of soft quality, but
Lamb's bread.
really, yeah, particularly in the machine, it works.
Because it's
very well.
it's totally cultural, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
absolutely ingrained in culture like here.
Yeah,
And it was introduced
exactly,
roughly
yeah.
the same time by the same slaves,
Yeah,
if
that's right,
I'm not
yeah.
mistaken,
And-
that whole part of the
Sorry,
world.
Nick,
Also
you've been told to speak a bit louder.
Oh, sorry,
Local
excuse
says you must speak louder.
I must be
Production design, you know, the production stuff, they've got it, the director's organ.
He says that I'm awful, I guess.
The people want to know who Nick is.
Oh, Nick is an enigma. Nick is an enigma, Oaks. That's how we play sometimes.
Nick's been a personal friend of mine for a few years. He's popped in and out over the years, and he's back again this week. And he's never seen the HotBox studio, so we brought him down to it today.
Yeah,
and
pleasure, absolutely.
he has a sensitive job, and he uses cannabis on occasion as R&R, away from all of that, which is what he's kind of doing now. But
R&R, yeah, absolutely.
the R&R bit.
Yeah.
So we've got a really comfortable cottage, and he's very good at taking up most of the stoop and parking off on his R&R. So it's good to have you
Thank you very
back
much
around.
indeed. It's a pleasure, sir.
Yeah. So I believe you're in Ghana, right? That's where you're
right,
living
yeah.
at the moment,
Absolutely,
yeah.
yes, I'm
And
West Africa.
that's an equatorial
Yeah.
cannabis
Equatorial region,
sativa
that's right.
country.
It is, absolutely, yes.
And is it ingrained in culture?
It's very much ingrained in culture. This is the thing I've been discovering. I mean, it's more than I ever expected, in fact. And both in younger culture and older culture, there's a very strong Rasta.
Oh,
Yeah,
following.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
So obviously they have
Okay.
a
Religion.
They have a.
There's
The techniques and what.
So there's
The
lots
chalice.
of I and I and I and I when you go and get some weed around there. There's quite a lot of I and I. Okay.
And it seems it's also in the north it's very popular because people there they're more there's a very rural lifestyle and
How big is it relative to South Africa, Ghana? Much smaller.
That's an interesting thing. Probably not that much.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit probably, but maybe 3/4, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big old country. Yeah.
Have you done any West Africa before?
No, I
Not
am local, dude.
Okay. I've done quite a lot of everything, but West Africa still eludes me. But I got that close to doing movies and commercials in Nigeria. But you know, with the closer you get to being offered one, the more you think, I'm just going to back off, because not even the dollars is going to sweeten it up, because it is chaos, yeah? Maybe not so much Ghana. Ghana's got quite a good name for itself for stability and cohesion.
That's very true,
and
yeah, absolutely. And they have their political stability. That's
right,
the main thing that they've had.
Yeah, but who gives a shit about that, Oaks? Let's speak about the weed. Yesterday, Oaks, what happened there? Too much painkillers.
Okay, sorry, bring us back to one. Fuck. Sorry, man, I was getting far too serious then. Yeah, fuck the climate and the topography, geography. What's the scaife like, dude?
Your paper bags.
How much you pay for scaife?
Yeah, because like I've got to put a question to you, because of the travelling factor, there are situations where you have to go dry. So, hey, what's like the most desperate situation you've been? How much is the most you've paid for some shit bud, dude? What's been like?
That's an interesting question.
Ask all of us.
Yeah, dude, we ask all of it. What's the most you've paid for some shit bud?
Yeah,
Because you're desperate?
well, how much have you paid for shit bud?
What have you been prepared to accept? What cut bud because you just don't have any?
It's a very good point that when you go to a new country, you don't actually know what the price is supposed to be. Yeah. So you are absolutely
just pay
you're
anything.
You're there to be
At the mercy.
But I tend to, my sort of rule is sort of like the first time I let them get away with it, and then probably by the second time, like I come out there, I found out now. And I have to, for example, no, just in Ghana, there's a chap tried to sell me a sort of a little thing of, you know, little
Was it sticks and sweets?
Yeah, well, yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, for I think 70 CDs, he said, which is.
That's a whole pile of CDs, eh?
Yeah, that's a big, that's a
CDs?
CDs, that's their money. CEDIS.
Right.
BBC
Much with CDs.
But how much?
When you went like those, it's fucking
So
little disc.
is about $15 to $20.
So that's what, 300 rand for two
Yeah,
little
yeah.
joints.
Yeah. Now, I subsequently discovered that very shortly after that was actually 2 CDs for the thing.
2 CDs.
2 CDs for the thing.
What a curious name for a currency.
So that was him trying.
That's what we should name the weed cryptocurrency seeds or something.
Seed coin.
But they do prepare it in Ghana. But the thing that they do is they beautifully prepare it.
In a red
they
Rizzler.
clean it. They take all the seeds out and everything. And it's the only place in Africa I've seen them do that. But yeah. So
Well,
West
you
Africa,
get it cleaned.
They clean it.
What?
They prepare it for
clean
you.
They take all the
Fuck,
seeds
it's
out,
completely
Oh, wow.
inverse here
Oh,
on the
what?
street. The more shit they can pack into it, the better half the
Yeah.
time.
Filler.
They clean
It's
it.
like
I
filler.
remember with Warren's on the thing here. Warren took me into Buffalo, into the township, and did Swanee, I think his name is, outside East London. And we went to see the brothers and the Rasses and the chief, and it was very blessed and irie. And I wanted to get a section for the last 4 or 5 days of a road trip home. We're on the home stretch, and I've been so altruistic. Fuck, I've run out every time. So I need some weed. So I asked for $200 worth of weed, and he comes out with this terrible little portion of something. And the next day, I didn't even look at it. I didn't need it then. I needed to drive weed. I needed to drive with lacquer tomorrow. And when I got it into the car, then just rolled it up, there was this big V of a fucking stalk with a little bit of bud in the middle of it, the fucker. Right, Warren, sort that guy out.
Sort him out.
A banky tease. No one likes a banky tease, Alex. Let's get on to our next story of the week. This was in the Green Rush Daily, and Attune's Aurora Cannabis announces new product line with over 35% THC.
So?
A new line of products from Canadian medical cannabis producer Aurora Cannabis is making waves in the patient and caregiver community. On Wednesday, the company announced the release of its Aurora Frost brand of dry cannabis, boasting a concentration at or above 35%.
Is it dry cannabis?
So we're going to get into this. They say, dry cannabis. Aurora Frost isn't just one of the highest potency cannabis products on the market. The new brand is also Aurora's most potent offering to date. And then Aurora goes on to say, dabs aren't the most practical thing for medical oaks. Not everyone necessarily wants to do a dab or is convenienced by this. But then what they go on to say is they say it as dry flower, So you're thinking it's bad, but what they're actually doing is, you know, when you trim your bud, you trim the bud. What they're doing now is they're trimming the trichomes off. So they're making hash. They're trimming individual trichomes off, and that is actually this kiff now. Is what's got 35% or more THC.
Is it a keef that they're making?
They're making hash. They're basically, they're making kiff or hash, but they're trimming the literal trichomes off the bud and then getting rid of the bud.
And how are they?
No,
what is the process? Is that like?
They're doing it with
that
little
doesn't make
fucking
sense.
Yeah,
scissors.
this is in Korea with little fingers. And
But even if they
fucking-
did, they can't do that. Because if you take it off the plant
Then
and they're
it's hash.
testing that, then that is 90% or
That's right.
60% hash.
yeah, there's nothing to brag
It
about.
must be a-
35.
It must be.
Yeah, 35
It must be a
sounds weak.
plant. No, man, it must be bud that
No,
they're
they're saying
talking
it's
35%.
their hash, dude.
Oh, it's their hash.
weak.
But it sounds
man.
weak for hash
It's
flour.
not weak.
It sounds strong for flour, but weak for hash.
They must be playing it down. So what? What about 35% of what? 35% of what? So what is the other 65%? Why are they so transfixed?
It was
on
like
this?
complete
Here, look.
clickbait, dude.
I reckon. What is this? What are you going to give me to this? I've been doing it a while. It's a fresh run.
Yeah,
it's
I'd
pretty
say minimum
fucking lekker.
60% THC.
Thank you very much.
Right now.
Thank you, bro.
Right now.
Yeah,
Minimum,
okay.
no matter what. I mean,
In and
it's-
around between 60 and 70.
Hundreds, yeah.
And what is the point? But you know what? I can eat a teaspoon of this. It hasn't been decarbed. Nothing. It's fresh. It hasn't had any heat to it. Hasn't had anything. So it's legal.
It's legal in my house.
It's not. It's legal until I heat it up, and then it's got THC in it.
Well, it
Yeah.
has
So
THCA.
that's what the World Health
It has THCA
Organization-
in there at the
Well,
moment.
there's THC, like you say, THC. But let me, like you asked the question, the article actually goes on to explain what the trick is. So they say, so how did Aurora hit the highly prized 35% THC mark in non-concentrate medical product? And they say by successfully developing a proprietary fine trimming and GMP compliant technology. Starting with premium whole flowers, Aurora's proprietary technology harvests the trichomes by finely trimming them off the flowers. Essentially, the company is producing kef.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, but then, like you say, it's weak. If you're thinking about it as a hash form, it's quite weak then. Because it
Why are
was
they
real
doing
quick
it?
play.
Why are they doing it?
Because
Aurora
they're
can.
bored.
Well,
Aurora
Aurora
has
can
so
do with
much
whatever.
money,
Yeah, no, but
they
then-
are literally trying to find a quality extract for that's weak.
Yeah.
So you got these people that want to
And
smoke
organic
concentrates, but they can't handle.
They're trying to find a weak concentrate.
That's what it sounds like. Why the hell would you want
That's
to make
like having a
concentrates?
gluten-free pizza.
Exactly, or a fucking alcoholic-free beer.
Fucking hell.
Even with alcoholic-free shooter. What the fuck is
Yeah.
that about?
Fucking, you got lactose-free milk and fat-free stuff.
And you know,
Fat-free. Fat-free means added sugar.
There we go.
That's all there is to it. Fat-free. All right, it is fat-free, but
So it's lactose-free milk. It's added
But do you
sugar.
think?
okay.
Do you think?
Thank you, Warren. Sani. Thank you for.
So, but would you be drawn to a product like that? That because there is a novelty to it. It's almost
Well, I
artisanal.
am.
Then
I am
It's
drawn
like
to it. Yeah.
it's like the most
But-
finest way of baking hash.
The dry sift he had last week.
Fuck me, the
It's
dry
exactly
sift.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this. Here's Aurora's product on in the underground. Yeah, there it is.
And you think like that dry sift's more than 35% THC?
This.
Yeah.
Maybe it probably is.
It's
It is,
yeah, I'd say
because-
it around a third. Yeah, it must. Yeah, yeah. No, I'd give it a third of what's in there is the good stuff. Yeah, for sure.
I'd say 35%.
Yeah, right. I'll give you that.
I mean,
Because like also
but
once,
this it doesn't mean anything different's going to happen to this or that bud.
no, yeah.
Really, I'm not going to take a spatula and make a joints with this with this.
This
It's
is
like
oranges.
a pint
That's
of,
orange
it's like a pint
juice.
of straw rum, and this is like you know something like that. I don't know what it is.
A
I
pint of-
can't quantify it.
it
But
is
that-
exactly
It's
that.
like people doing.
This is Castle Lager. That's wine, and that's liquor.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
If you were to put it
Yeah.
to that kind of...
Yeah, nice
Nice.
fortified wine, perhaps.
Nice single malt.
Single malt.
Single trim. Single
Yeah.
Soon
trim.
it will be recognized like that, I think. Soon there will be that kind of
Market.
market and connoisseurism, if you can say
Um,
that.
Yeah,
Connoisseurism.
Yeah.
If there's like
Connoisseurism.
that within weed, there already is in the subculture, but when it's like publicly seen, like wine is, where you can go and get educated, you can actually get educated already. Go online and read it. It's there.
I'm
It's-
actually wanting
it's there.
that. But yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to seeing it emerge in South Africa. But then let's figure out how high do you think our bars are set in terms of a flower context? I know dabs, but like, we've never really had a way to gauge. Our weeds never come with a label to say how strong it is. What do you think the strongest weed you smoked was? You think it was like 20%, 25%, 30% THC? Because I smoked some dang fucking shit.
That's right, who knows? That's
You oaks at home, what do you think the strongest weed is you smoked? Yeah, you can say, yeah, it's high, but if you were to say on the THC scale, where do you think it stuck?
You know, I don't think that what's in it is the thing that gets you off. It's how it's actually ingested is the thing that affects your trip. And I remember, I'm talking about this Mobius, and the guy that found this for me, he had the most enormous, beautiful thing with a centre column in. I don't know what you call those ones. Like
a mothership or something.
Yeah, it's a mothership, and it had this beautiful thing, and it was packed for flowers. And he was staying with me for the weekend, and I walked through, and I saw it was packed with flowers. He'd taken the top off it, and I thought, you know, what a beautiful bong. Let me just fucking try that. It's my weed. It's a strawberry diesel, yeah? Remember that strawberry diesel?
I do.
So I hit this Mobius, clutch it, pull it in, and fucking hell, I am broken immediately with it. I don't do bongs. I just wanted to check the rig. And if it was a dab, it would have been okay. And I went out to my garden and held on tight, and I was fucking green. And that is my weed, and it was a joint's worth, and it was a small dab, but it was hit from a beautiful piece of glass in a big bowl, and I didn't expect it, and it fucked me up. So it's not how many THCs or woo inside, it's actually how you get it delivered, and what's in your blood at the time, and how tired you are, and how fucked up you are to begin with in the first one of the day. Because I tried that Neville's Haze a couple of days ago, first thing in the morning, with intention, you know. I knew I was going to go down and fix some shit, but fuck, God has got me good and high, yeah. No, it completely affected me immediately.
Do you think you've ever, like, even though I know we say the delivery, do you think you've smoked stuff that's over 20%? You, Dan? You think you've smoked?
No, that
I think you've
Manchurian.
smoked 30%.
Do you remember the Manchurian stuff?
I would like to think so. I've smoked some really, absolutely...
Yeah, no, I've had some knockout weed in the joint from you in my time, mate. You've had the strongest weed I've... Yeah, no, you passed me some bats that just did my head in, actually.
I think so. I'd hope it. But I mean, they're saying 34 on that.
35, yeah.
35, but that was an extra.
But that's still shit's weak for like hash. I would have thought it would be strong if you're going to brag about it. But for me, I'm attracted to that trimming process. Because like I say, there may even be a market for people to trim pistols off at the right point.
It's like dry slipped. It is literally this.
Yeah.
Literally this. Because why, look.
But they're doing
they've got so much money that they can trim the trichrome off. But
they must be doing it at such a point of complete dryness.
Yeah, it's dry.
It's going to plug up otherwise.
Yeah, I just see it. I think it's so inefficient. Why do that when you've got dry sieve screens and they break off by themselves and fall through the screen? No mechanical machinery needed.
Different.
Yeah,
nothing. It's because they got so much money. Now they're doing ultrasonic removal of trichromes on plants. Woo-hoo! So you literally put in a solvent and it ultrasonically just and they just fall off.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And touched by human hands. Yeah,
it's crazy. What do you want to go to? I mean, Jesus, you can.
But then weed's still illegal because what's in there down at the bottom that's just got shaken off isn't necessarily weed anymore. It's a preparation and an extraction of. But it's a weak extraction, and if it's an extraction, it's not weed. Thankfully for them. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you lived in England? Have you been in England much lately?
Not what I've been visiting.
Because there's preoccupation the press has with this word skunk. There's quite a lot of it at the WHO as a benchmark of evil against medical and good. You hit the skunk line, and now it's Psycho City, and everybody's addicted and fucking schizophrenia and stuff. England's big on that. It's like this skunk thing, and we all know as a community that skunk finished in the early 90s. It's a strain that's half a generation ago, but it's stuck because it had such a shitty word attached to it. Skunk. So now they're still at it. The skunkers are still around, and they use it as a benchmark to potency.
But
exactly, this is the thing. But it's more, as you say, it's a device to demonise.
I think that's pretty much what it is.
Because you see, what the situation in, I think it's fair to say in the UK is that the older generation, the parent generation, they sort of remember from their day, and they're a little bit easygoing about it. So they think, oh well, there's nothing much about that. But then they have to have something that is the sort of the version which can be criticised, which can so the youth, this, that, and the other. So that's what's really happened. As far as for the smokers are concerned, it's just a change of quality, and a change of the way that it's produced, and the way it's delivered, and the price as well.
Right.
But for the media and all that kind of thing, it gives a way to sort of distance.
It's like
I wonder where that name came from, because there's a few different
Skunkman Sam, West Coast.
skunk.
Yeah.
So you think that the skunk name in England is from Skunkman Sam,
Yes, I think so.
and that was, you know, the history behind that.
Forgotten it.
So he must be a breeder of some
Tell
kind.
you where he will be. It may well be in there.
Must
There
be a
might
breeder of
little
some
bit in
kind,
there.
right?
There may well be a little bit of it
Because
in
if you
there.
think about it, they only would call it skunk. Well, there's that.
Well,
the fact
it's-
that
I
cheese,
think-
because cheese is a huge thing in England, and then they, you know, it's a massive thing. in
Exodus
England.
cheese, the cheese cut.
It comes from there. So now, would you think that
But skunk and cheese kind of were the same thing. This
It is the same thing.
This pungent thing.
cheese is a pheno of a skunk, original skunk number one that they
Quite
found?
right.
So that's probably why, or maybe that's the name that's been passed on since the beginning,
Yeah, it was
Skunk.
skunk number one. It was skunk
and it's
number
just gone forever.
Yeah.
It's like our Durban poison.
It's like a Hoover.
Exactly. It's like cheese down in Durban, Cape Town. It is what people call chronic now.
Yeah, it's
But
Yeah, I
it's cool.
remember
The history of how the name came about. It's quite a.
Myrtle and I did this presentation in Cape Town to a bunch of cops. Actually, there's like 300 uniforms out there, and they're from around the world. This is Crime Stoppers International. We are in the lion's den, and there's a Q&A at the end, and this woman gets up, and she didn't ask a question, and she launched into this tirade, and then amongst all of this very broad Cape-coloured kind of deep accent that I got to concentrate hard on because I'm not from there and I don't listen to it all the time. And she said, it's not even Dagga, they call it cheese. So that's not Dagga anymore. The mothers don't see it as Dagga anymore. It's cheese because they don't understand. And cheese is like different. And remember somebody here, Bruce was here after 420 and he's saying he knows a bit about the cheese market in Cape Town, and it's not so much they want cheese, they want that level of highness like skunk. So it's like this societal benchmark of how stoned you want to be and how much you're prepared for it,
and
to
how
prepare to pay.
critical then you can be, and that's really the thing. So that's as I say, so the media have sort of seized on that.
Totally.
But that's maybe how the CBD sword cuts both ways, because we see it now. It's a culture of CBD helps me distance myself from the fact that it's weed.
Exactly, yeah.
And on the other end, we see people finding extremer contexts for what is just weed. So it's still, they're trying to call a rose a different name, you know.
I get hot under the collar about it because I've got to stick to my guns about the big picture, prohibition and human rights. I see CBD as a ruse by the man to just feed us something, to keep us fucking quiet for a while. Here, have some CBD, play with that for a while, and we'll just fuck with you on the big picture and keep you oppressed with prohibition. And fuck them anyway.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway,
should we do some shout outs? Should we do some hi? Let's do hi to everybody. Everybody
hi,
who's
Oliver.
commented. Let's say
Raz,
hi to
honestly,
you.
Church
Everyone
from
who's made a
Green,
comment.
Church from Greenhouse Amsterdam, grown in a greenhouse, is probably the strain that has affected me most in different ways, and he's blazed his strains as well. No, Brew, we know you're indoor and your chalice of breakfasts. Fuck. Church it is for him, but he comes from the land of church, Eastern Cape. There's loads of church grown in the Eastern Cape for what? Years. Five odd years, yeah.
The church. It's
So that is a cheese, yeah? It's a church is a cheese derivative.
I don't know if it's a cheese. I know that it's a greenhouse seed. I know it's greenhouse seed bank, the church. I know it's a Lank Indica, I think. But I don't know much about it. It's been around.
I think it's like 60-40. It's a stumpy little plant. It's easy
It's been
to grow.
around since the White
It's
Widow
cool
days
it's a cool little plant. You've got to grow quite a few. There's like, I don't know, 400 off a plant. Something.
Let's ask Dan, the man, check. What's its heritage? What's the church's heritage?
What is church? Dan.
Let's do some weed
Dan should have it
101.
up the top of his...
Let's
I
go.
don't know. We dropped him in it again.
Yeah. And Oaks, what's the stuff that is, if you had to say there's one thing that has put you down, that you rate was the strong one, even if you can't quantify it as what it was in THC, what strain was it? What is that sort of one that you know that if you're going to smoke it, you know?
The first thing I ever smoked put me down badly, yeah.
Okay, was that just
terribly.
the first thing?
No, just so fucking stoned on hash. At a concert with a bunch of olders, like university people versus high school, and I tagged along underage and got absolutely done in on a hash joint like a bat at a Hawkwind concert. and I was green as fuck, and they carried me. I was in the same place in the stairwell for 2 hours looking at those down there, at everybody and everything. I'll never forget it, actually, but I couldn't move a muscle. Went back for more immediately, but...
as one does.
But now I understand about the dose immediately. You know, oh fuck, I took too much. Right, it's so simple.
Yeah.
You
This
didn't
is not a
know.
psychotic experience. This is just
self-regulation.
self-medication. Back off.
Tell us a bit about the church there, Dad. What's
So
it
the
deal?
church is Swiss sativa, skunk, super skunk, and a Northern Lights cross.
So Lang skunk, eh?
So yeah, basically it is. Let's see what it is here. Switzerland sativa, which is a skunk number one.
It makes so much sense if it's a greenhouse C. This
Cross
is
a super skunk, cross Northern Lights.
totally.
Those
There
are
it is.
OGs,
That's
OG
right.
indicas in the
It's
house.
completely.
The
Old
pictures
school
of
indicas,
No, it makes loads of sense.
Yeah, NL1, NL2, NL5, the super skunk.
When was the last time you did Amsterdam, Nick? Long ago.
Yeah, no, well, it was probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Now. 10 years ago now. Yes.
And was that R&R as well? Yeah, thankfully.
Sort of.
Sort
It
of.
kind of semi-works.
Yeah, no, it's difficult, huh?
The skunk is
Yeah.
20% THC, just so you know. It's tested at 20%
What,
THC.
church?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry,
there you go.
church.
No,
20%
that'll like
THC.
a chalice in the morning, Warren.
And your
20% brew.
CBD is 0.1%. So
Well, float my boat, Oaks.
yeah, it works. It works. It is good.
So let's get on to the next
delicious.
story. I see our VJ's down, but I'm going to manual this. I'm going to go wild.
Well, I'm sure he'll be back. He's probably just having a nervous breakdown. We go through about 3 engineers a month.
So there's now an issue in California where they're having to deal with pesticides in weed. So now with regulation comes responsibility,
of course.
folks.
Yeah.
So this story's in Herb. It tunes California allocates $2.5 million to target toxic pesticide use by illegal pot farms. Officials say irresponsible grows are threatening California's water supply and wildlife. Federal and state officials announced on Tuesday, May 29th, they'll be using a $2.5 million in federal funds to target black market grows. Even though federal marijuana prohibition is still in effect, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But they're saying now not on product and as byproduct of growing weed, there's pesticides as pollutants and pesticides on
It's
bud,
huge.
and potentially pesticides in concentrates. Because I imagine if I was,
Yeah.
if,
Yes.
let me ask
Yeah,
you,
no,
if I was to
completely.
take a bud that had a bit of a moldy thing going on, and I made concentrate out of it, would it therefore concentrate that as well in the
course.
product? Because you're
100%.
concentrating the whole
If you
situation.
don't do the proper filtration techniques, or you don't know that the dude that grew it for you, or whatever it is, put pesticides or anything on it that you don't know of, is going to be in that extract, no matter what. So
Because
they
you
have
could be
to.
dabbing doom.
Of course. You could be dabbing Roundup. You fucking don't know it.
Yeah,
how are
yeah,
you any
right.
How are you any wiser at the moment with no kind of legal, not even legal, how like a framework that we can work around where we can say, look, we'd rather know what our weed is coming at or coming from,
Yeah.
or the extracts, because now people are smoking extracts and they don't know any wiser. They think that burn is great. It actually isn't. It could be that it's the pesticide or the whatever it is, the spores that are coming from the powdery mildew that the guy didn't pull out, or whatever it might be. And if they don't know any wiser, they could be killing people. People are very allergic.
And I think oaks could also be polluting, because I know that when you're running a hydrochem grow,
I mean, not
or even you're
that,
doing
yeah.
it heavy on the organic, you
Your
can
runoff,
fuck up
your-
the area around you.
In America, they're not even allowed to. The runoff has to go into tanks that has to then get pre-filtered to then be sent out. That is what it's at now, because you cannot just pump hundreds of liters of. You think it's just water runoff? Meantime, that is high EC water that goes
High
into river
EC, high
systems.
nitrogen, high.
Yeah.
And our rivers are so fucked anyway. So, you know, if we had to do that, we'd just destroy the country completely. We would just destroy it, because if everyone was to grow weed and then they're just pumping all of their nutrient-filled water into the rivers, we'll have barbel growing the size of cows and flipping. It'll just be chaos.
Yeah, barbels with two
It'll be
tails.
green. Yeah,
Two-tailed barbel.
algae would just go crazy. It would just be insane. So
It's, you know
I
what?
think it's good. I
Hydro-barbel.
think it's a good thing. It's like
It-
not bananas and everything else.
Did he say that this had popped up in California?
Yeah.
Because now they've had a good 25, 30 years of fucking it up.
But now it's also getting corporate too, so
And
that's really
they've had a
pumping.
big set of fires that's probably done a lot of runoff and wash off and stuff, and a lot of landsliding. It's pretty messed up, and it's all probably coming to light. But
Yes, dude, you're telepathetic, because that's going to go right into our next topic. We're running out of time, so I'm going to squeeze this in. Because now in Green Rush Daily they say California's having to contend with the issue of the land fire, of the fires that they had, the forest fires and that. The story is titled California Cannabis Industry Can Now Acquire Liability Insurance. California's new cannabis business owners policy makes it less risky for insurers to provide coverage for smaller marijuana operations. And then the big bit is the question of insurance coverage for cannabis businesses has always been a pressing one. But after the rash of wildfires that torched dozens of marijuana farms and production facilities, causing more than $1 billion in losses in California, there's now insurance for your grow. You can now insure your grow. Because that is a risk. Because it's on.
Isn't it a little bit out after the horse bolted, they closed the gate? Because people have just gone down.
Well, you saw those fires that just wiped out.
Well, that got wiped out. There was no recompense. There was no nothing.
But that means it's the best time to sell it because oaks are feeling the pain. So they're like,
you know, you said that there was a video that I saw on YouTube of one of these growers, one of these companies in America that grew, and they had a fire on their hill, and it took out 20, 30 farms around them, but it didn't take out one of their 100 meter by 30 meter greenhouses with literally plants being harvested that day. And they managed to harvest that and save it, but it was just the fact that they had, like you said, they can cash in on that. But I think what they also did is they went around with all their stock and they gave all of the farmers around them seed. All free seed to say, look, you guys need to get going.
There was a lot of that.
Go. This is because you can't just be stingy and be like, ha ha, you guys have got nothing. It's all mine.
There's a picture that comes to mind from one of the videos from the WHO in Geneva.
Yeah.
He's from Kentucky, and he's doing a whole load of CBD stuff, and he doesn't like THC much. You can tell. And it's all about medicine. And he's got 2 slides, and one of them is the archetype of 100 mil apart, and they've gone to the sky, and that's the bit he's using for hemp, for fibre and fuel and biofuel. Then he's got a slide of the other half of the farm with these massive fucking CBD hemp bushes that have been given 4 meters apiece, and they're on rolls and rolls of plastic, cold cut in one clinical dink, 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 dink down the plastic as far as you can see. And they're growing hemp for CBD, and they'll use the biofuel as the byproduct, which is kind of handy. But nobody wants to make fucking socks anymore. Or I don't know whether dungarees are going to catch on in the end, because everybody wants the CBD, not the... So there's got to be a happy medium of how you grow this plant, because there was 2 extremes in the picture. There's one that you couldn't get CBD from, and there's one that you couldn't get any sort of any length of fibre out of. So somewhere along the line, this is a multifaceted plant. But yeah, they're onto it. CBD, and you've got, it should be on the homeopathy stand, because it's 1 in 1 part in 3 billion, and fucking hoist some arbitrary fucking grapeseed something in and send it from barcode land, and it's
But you know what? Power to the people. Dischem, cool. Because
it's normalising it. There's the weed leaf. Mummy, what's that?
Yeah, dude. But it's also funny we're talking about this liability and that.
Which one was that?
This little pot here.
That little pot there. Okay.
It's full of flavour.
Full of flavour. No, that's the terpene queen or something.
Just delicious.
So that one there is crossed with the DRC and a green crack.
This is the DRC.
That's a green crack with one of those big DRC sativas, and it went purple.
Yes, those were lovely.
Those things. So that is basically one of those.
Yeah,
and it's special, eh?
It's sativa to the max.
It's totally sativa. When you're talking about how many percent THC, you can do 4%. I don't know, what is that? That's got to be 40, 50%. It's probably, I don't know, there's a lot of wax in it. It's like loads of plant there. So I don't know what it is. I really couldn't quantify it. But the plant itself isn't up to much. It's maybe 5% THC as a plant, because it's just kind of landrace crossing on itself, second generation. So it's just really nice balanced high, which is much more preferable to this 35% thing. But people want more bang for their buck because it's prohibition.
Like 50%.
I think people are sick of having more
easy.
bang for their buck. You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Nice,
dude, no, not that
Yeah,
old
no,
dog.
fucking marmite.
Yeah,
Look at
dude,
that.
it's like he's making a peanut butter sandwich here.
Yeah.
Come on, Oaks.
In the middle of the night, sneak up to the cupboard and...
But you could. because
You
it's
could.
literally it hasn't been
If
heated
that's
up.
what you like, you can do it.
Does it what temperature does it convert at?
50 Celsius.
Yeah, you
isn't
see,
it?
90 odd.
90 odd.
90.
Yeah, so
90 odd.
like if you left it in here, it would never get to 90 for the rest of its life.
But if
Well,
you leave it on
over
your
time,
dash,
over time it does, but
Over time.
yeah, so,
what sort of time?
I think a couple of months it could
Oh,
start
okay.
decarbing on
millennia.
itself.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Right.
6 months.
6. There we go. From about 6 months, it'll start to decarb. Well,
Okay.
it'll become.
So by Christmas,
It'll mature.
by Christmas
yeah.
that will
the curve,
be
the curve is actually
illegal.
more gradual as the time goes by.
So it's Christmas cake rules.
Yeah.
6
But
months.
you could imagine that right now, if we had SAPS forensics and the Rottweilers and the whole fucking lot of them here, and we go, it's weed, test it, because
I'd love
the
them
more THC is in it, the more harm I'm doing to myself, therefore the more punishment I should get. Yeah, that's how the fucking law is working for weed. How strong is it? How much is it worth? The more it's worth, the more hectic it is, and the more,
The more
you should
crazy
go
you're gonna
down.
be.
So this has got no THC in it. Oh, fuck. But if I sat here in 6 months' time with the same thing, I'd go down for it. Now, World Health Organization, work that shit out and get back to us, all right?
But I've also got a question, like arbitrary. You know, they have to train dogs to smell each drug. You don't train a dog to smell every drug. They get trained for each one. So they're having to train dogs how to smell dab now. Is there dab sniffing
It's the same
unit?
thing.
There's an oil sniffer
same-
at the
same
fuck.
thing.
There's an oil sniffer at.
Is it the same
yeah, it's
thing
the
though?
same
Well,
thing.
do you think
It's
that? Do you think a
terpenes.
weed sniffer dog would recognise that?
Yeah, no,
Well,
but if
it's
it's RSO,
terpenes.
there's no terpenes in RSO.
It's still got the
If
THC.
you got an
it's still
ISO
got a-
running, because how are they getting the stuff out of the post?
Well, with RSO, maybe not because you completely destroy the terpenes with the alcohol.
So, but how are they doing it at the postnet?
What?
Getting everybody's oil because they are.
Because they're clumsy. These people are not wearing gloves or doing it proper. They were carrying
No, but they're-
bags or
No, but I'm saying they're getting nailed at postnet
with
for
the dogs.
posting their oil.
Yes.
So the dogs are actually finding the oil, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are the dogs?
Smelling.
Because there's no way a dog would know what the fuck that was.
Of course it will.
There's no way.
Do you
Of
think what he's
course.
smelling is Oros?
The dog can smell. The
And
dog
then
can smell the
Oros.
shit on your
I've
ass that you wiped in the morning.
Yeah, but that just smells like a really concentrated toilet freshener.
Yeah, but that's what they've been trained to smell for.
But what if it was fucking toilet freshener?
They would check you, and if you pulled out a toilet
Unscrew
can
the
out your ass and it was that, then that's what they would check. But that's it.
I am not doing
That
dabs
is gonna
that has
take
been
you.
in someone's arsehole. On
No.
that note, Oaks, I think we've come to the end of the show
Yeah, but
already.
people would chop lines at the total on the fucking...
Oh, dude.
Yeah?
On the
So there's a
anything
culture chopping lines on you urinals all over the fucking national roads.
thing.
Ross was
I've
asking,
heard.
yeah, Ross was asking, what's the highest level CBD seed plant you can grow?
I don't know.
So
Not Charlotte's Web. Probably.
I've heard there's the highest CBD percentage is like 25% up.
So that means
Same rules
3/4
as
of the plant hasn't got CBD in it. That's what that means. 25% of what?
No.
Everyone's
So
like, 25%. Whoa, that's a quarter.
yeah, you take a
Of-
bud, and that bud is tested.
Mm.
25% of what you hold in your hand is CBD.
Right. Okay.
And the rest is
That's
plant
happened
matter.
really quite quickly. That's
Yeah.
really happened quite quickly.
Yeah.
They must have gone straight to a hemp plant in northern China somewhere.
Oh, this is breeding. This
'Cause
is
like
instant
and
6 years
breeding.
ago,
very,
they
very
didn't
quickly
care.
got
This is
that
breeding.
back to the base, yeah?
These
And
are
crossed the
advanced
shit
breeders that
backwards on
are
it.
pushing it hard because
Then
now they can
that's-
get THC,
that's quick,
30,
eh?
35% THC plants.
Well,
They got to compete. They have to get the CBD.
I don't think
up
they've
there.
got a 35% TH plant, because if you gave that plant to me, I'll make it fucking 75%. They haven't got a 35% THC plant. They got a process that has 35, but a third of their process has got THC in it. That's all it fucking is. But it's a headline.
But we all know it's
Aurora.
about the headline, guys.
Yeah, no, we dig headlines. Well, I swapped them around a little bit because
I see that.
we haven't seen that one for a while. That's a classic.
Okay.
Zolfire ate our shacks.
Must have
So
been
you don't.
big Zol, eh?
Where else in the world would you get a fucking headline like that, dude?
okay, dude.
That's completely South African. Cool.
Local is Danker, Oaks.
Yeah.
Local is Danker. But on that note, Oaks,
Yeah, Nick. Thanks for popping in.
I didn't have much to say at the end
My
there.
pleasure, my
We're going to have to have a round two.
Yeah.
Cheers, boss. Thank you.
Cool, man. Guys, thank you. Is there anything we should be looking out for? You guys are going away soon.
We're going away soon. We leave just after next week's show, so I think we'll try and drag Myrtle in or something, and have a chat about what we're going to do next. Because basically, It's quite a jaw. It's quite a jaw. This one. There's not much pressure on this one. There's a couple of speeches and meeting fucking legends. Dan's got Dan's got Ed's book there, and this is
that's Jorge.
Yeah,
so there's Ask Ed there, and that book's been around for a hell of a long time. And now we're going to meet Ed Rosenthal, and he knows we're coming, and he's just released another book, and he's from the same sort of I know this book. He's from the same kind of camp in his head as me, that we're just addicted to being around the plant.
But then let's talk about him once you've met him and he signed the book.
Yeah,
hey, looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah,
looking forward to it. But otherwise, no events. I think we're talking about D-Day 2018 already.
Really,
guys?
I
can't believe it. I can't believe it. But anyway, please like, share, stay lit, eh?
Did you see the look of my face?
D-Day 2018.
Okay, moving on. Thank you for watching, boys and girls. As always, we'll keep you posted on events, galactic and otherwise.
Let's smoke some weed.
Sure thing.
Let's make a white pipe with those pain